It's currently 2 p.m, so morning everyone. The gun for hire. ISTPs are rightly known as virtuosos, capable of mastery of tools, instruments, and even their own bodies. A dark ISTP can perform tasks and operate tools at an extremely high yet dispassionate level, to the exclusion of any emotional or even moral consequences. Picture some heartless sellsword on Game of Thrones, or a highly trained assassin with a cold, unflappable ability to take compassion out of the equation. They have a bullet and a target, and in that moment, hitting the spot is the only thing that matters. An excellent example of a dark ISTP is James Bond. Now, he can fluctuate between being an ISTP and being an ESTP, or even an ESFP in some portrayals. But the general archetype seems to fit as an ISTP. He's given his mission or job to do, and he never really questions it. He knows he's extremely good at what he does. He knows it gives him a thrill. He enjoys it. Whether what he's doing is right or wrong isn't really a consideration. Perhaps even deeper than that. The idea of something being morally right or wrong is not even an idea he subscribes to. That kind of moral nihilism is something that ISTPs can be susceptible to. There are many factors, including temperament, aside from personality type, and I guess gender as well, that affect this. But ISTPs aren't particularly into emotional fluctuation. Instead of an emotional roller coaster, they prefer an actual roller coaster. Their emotional variety day to day doesn't need to spike and drop for them to feel fulfilled. A nice, steady baseline of emotion will do fine. Introverted thinking and extroverted sensing. Having TI and SE as your top two functions, one of which is analytical and systematic, and the other being very concrete and realistic, what they have in common is that none of them are necessarily people-focused, and neither of them have much of an emotional component either. ISTP's preferred mode of operating is therefore kind of emotionless. Now, that's going to sound very weird to a lot of types. For instance, if you were practicing something like the piano, or any craft really, you could be using your TI to figure out the structure of the chords. You could be using your SE for the physical technique, and even engaging your NI by solidifying certain ideas and trends you're seeing throughout the practice, and creating a long-term vision for where this practice is leading. There isn't necessarily the need for FE. It can be there, but it isn't needed. This desire for mastery and to be skilled, yet wanting to be kind of emotionless, can be healthy in certain situations. A healthy ISTP could manifest this as being a ruthless competitor in sport, or even in business, or whatever field it is. Picture a Michael Jordan-esque mentality. But the trick is to make sure it's compartmentalized. It's the difference between going down to a boxing ring and displaying your skill set and just leaving it there, or going down to a local bar and picking fights with people. ISTPs can be very obsessive. The trick is to make sure that obsessiveness doesn't spill over and start negatively affecting other parts of their life. As always with a type's dark side, it is often just an extreme version of the thing that makes that type useful to society and to people. The kind of fearlessness and emotionlessness that ISTPs can deliver under high pressure environments has infinite uses. But there are some situations where that FE calculation of emotional impact is the most important thing to do. Dispassionate logic and realism, however accurate and potentially useful, will fall on deaf ears in that moment. ISTPs have extroverted intuition as their polar function, so it's the function they struggle with the most. Amongst other things, NE is adept at generating possibilities in pretty much all situations. Struggling to do this will result in a person feeling trapped, or stuck, or just unable to see a way through or around whatever circumstance they find themselves in. Whereas some types may easily see possibilities and solutions and out-of-the-box ways around things. they may actually lack the discipline or be too stuck in a routine or rut to do anything about it. ISTPs, on the other hand, often have exceptional discipline. It's just that they struggle to see those possibilities in the first place. Over time, this can lead to a pent-up aggression or rage, and ISTPs can do rage very well. Lone rangers. ISTPs are often notoriously freedom-seeking and value independence, often in the form of self-sufficiency. These are obviously positive traits in many ways. But when it comes to relationships and commitment, things can start to feel very restrictive for ISTPs. Getting into a long-term relationship with the wrong person or at the wrong time is just about the worst mistake you can make. However, missing out on forming long-lasting relationships with people can be equally bad. For ISTPs, it's a combination of feeling claustrophobic and encroached upon, plus simply feeling like time is being taken away from them pursuing the things that they want to. ISTPs' interests and hobbies and goals can be very solitary, or at least not require other people to be involved. And to other types, this can come across as selfish, or may simply need to actually be selfish to fully embrace and become good at those things and achieve those goals. One of the ironies with ISTPs is that the more alone time you give them, the more they'll want to spend time with you. They'll no longer associate your presence as being restrictive. As always with these videos, as I'm doing them, I'm constantly thinking of things I've missed, but I'd rather revisit those things in future videos than do a half-hearted attempt at them now. But if you think I've missed something, let us know in the comments. Also, if you know any ISTPs that you think are going dark, then feel free to send them this.